A beautiful good morning to you. Another day is here. And our usual saying is, thank God it's Friday. I don't know what is so special about Friday. Everybody will always say, thank God it's Friday.
You know.
Yes, it's Friday.
Don't say don't say you don't know.
I don't know. Tell me.
I put it to you that you know. It's weekend, of course.
Okay. That's why we should always say thank God it's Friday.
After today, so many people will be resting Saturday, Sunday.
Do you rest Saturday, Sunday?
Of course I do.
Well, as a journalist, you don't have any time for yourself. You work Monday to Sunday.
Oh, really?
So there's no need saying thank God it's
I
Friday. Well, however, thank God it's Friday. A good day is born to us, and we are happy. We thank God for making it happen. We are here again on this program. Good morning, Anambra. What do? We say good morning, and you say thank you. In Igbo Palace, you say Aguwa Uzo, Aguwa Onu. What is say welcome? My name is Theophilus Okoha, and Nonye is here with me.
My name is Nonye Nwokoye. Thanks so much for joining us on Good Morning Anambra show today.
I was expecting you to say thank you, or you will say good morning. When was say good morning?
I'm not saying good morning to you. I'm saying to Ndi Anambra and people watching us from around the country. Okay,
what do we have today? We have to talk about something that interests each and every one of us, something that will benefit us. Nigeria have been democratically involved in a rulership that truncates down to the masses. That is, democratic institutions of Nigeria have been uninterrupted for the past 19 years. And within these 19 years, so many things have been happening, have been taking place. And in this very dispensation, we are talking about which arms of government have been taking care of this democracy. I know we have the executive, we have the legislature, we have the judiciary. Then to what extent have they contributed in having a nascent democratic government? But today, we're going to focus on the judiciary in democratic institution 90 years after. To really help us do that, we have individuals here in the studio. We have Professor Mrs. Ngozi, Dean, Faculty of Arts, Chukwuemeka Odumegu, Ojukwu University, Barr. I want to say welcome, Prof.
Good morning, Joa.
Okay, we also have Barrister Ifechukwu Dan Jacobs, a legal practitioner. Barrister, I want to say welcome.
Thank you. Viewers, you're welcome to the program. Thank you, the presenter.
You're welcome.
It's like the pay is so perfect, you know. Well, welcome. Judiciary in a democratic institution 19 years after. First, let's look at Nigeria 19 years now. Let me start with you, Prof. Democratic setting of Nigeria 19 years now.
19 years ago, the journey of democracy added a new wing. That was on May 1999. Nigeria established a brand new nascent constitutional democratical laws, and that is what ushered in what we know as the Fourth Republic. And something very interesting about this Fourth Republic is that it is expected to first establish the judiciary as an independent arm of government. Then it is also expected to free the judiciary from the shackles of military decrees. The common man had his hope lifted. The Redeemer has come. The judiciary, which is the bastion, the last hope, the succor of the common man, is now expected to perform its role as the voice of the masses, as the last hope of the masses. But to what extent the judiciary has been able to perform its constitutional role.
Okay.
I think
We are coming to that.
Let me come to you, Barrister Jacobs. You know, from what Prof said, let's look at what judiciary is all about. Let people understand actually these roles that the judiciary play.
Well, in the democratic setting, especially in federal system of government, judiciary is the third arm of the government. We have executive, legislature, and judiciary. The duty and function of judiciary is to interpret the law according to the justice of the law. Because not just to interpret, but make sure that justice is done and being manifestly done. That is the duty of judiciary.
Basically, are there no other rules apart from this?
Well, apart from interpretation, I think that's the major role they play, to interpret. Then the executive have to follow the interpretation, execute the law according to the interpretation the judiciary has given to it.
And if I may come in again, how would you actually describe a judiciary in a democratic dispensation, these 19 years of democratic rule in the country?
Indeed, it has not been easy. This past 19 years, the judiciary have actually tried its best, though there are still some areas they need to strengthen their activities. But they have done so well to keep this democracy going.
Let's know.
In one way, the many ways they have tried to keep the democracy going, like through judicial activism. In certain issues, like in the election, the politician would like to manipulate, cheat to win the position. When the opponent goes to court, the court will look at the whole issues. Like in Anambra State, where Apoga is enjoying leadership in this state because of judicial activism. PDP manipulated the election during Ngige, and they won. Ngige came in, and that is why, up to date, Ngige is still regarded as a governor that came to the window, not through the door, because it was the judicial activism that actually nullified his election and brought in P2B. When the P2B was impeached midway in his leadership, judiciary restored him, having analyzed the process and found it faulty. So judiciary have in many other states like Ekiti. That's why we have some staggered election today because of judicial activism. Judiciary have actually did so well to keep our democracy.
And do you think that staggered election has done us any good?
Definitely, that have actually, even if not because of the way elections are staggered, Anambra would have not enjoyed the kind of privilege they enjoy in the elections. More concentration, more attention is being given. Look, no much room for rigging. Look at what happened in the last governorship election, 21/21 to the governor, because all attentions, everything about Anambra concentrated in Anambra State. No much room for manipulation.
As a result of judiciary intervention.
Okay, let us look at this angle. Democracy, like we know, government of the people, for the people, and by the people. In the role of judiciary, to what extent has it affected the masses who owns this democracy, so to speak? I want to come to you, Prof. Let us, because we are still analyzing what happened within 19 years.
You see, there are a lot of bizarre things happening around us, and the only thing I can say is that if you want to judge to what extent the judiciary has stood by its tenets to defend the common man, to be the last hope of the common man, then you have to look at what is happening at the common man directly. Yes. Let me start with one or two things that happened in the judiciary of recent. We are all confused as at now. We don't even know who to believe again. The judiciary we are looking at as our hope. All of a sudden, there are accusations and counter-accusations. And after the elections, there were arrests by midnight. The judiciary became afraid of itself and before our very eyes, the judiciary was turned against itself. And a lot of bizarre things. In fact, I can't even fathom what is happening. So if we are to believe in the judiciary now, which judiciary do you want us to believe? Is it the judiciary that has been accused of corruption, arrested by midnight, and brazenly harassed, judges thrown into jail, and I mean a lot of, who do we believe in? That is the issue. If the judiciary can be used against itself in such a brazen way, what else, or how much more, how will they handle the common man? If the elephants can be trampled in the jungle, what will happen to the rats? So
now, Barrister, basically, when you're doing your analysis, you said the judiciary to protect the interests of the common man. To what extent do you think this has been achieved in this democratic dispensation?
Well, actually, the judiciary have done so much in protecting the interests of common man by checkmating the excesses of the executive. If not because of judicial pronouncements on major issues, this country would have been into full dictatorship. And you know what it means? No, the constitution would have been there just to be there for being sacked. The presidency would have been doing whatever, although up to date, the leaders have not been having it easy. Like what the Prof says, that in recent time, some judges were arrested. He who alleged have to prove. The arresting them doesn't mean they are guilty. Many of them have been exonerated from all the charges. We're not saying that there are no corrupt elements in the judiciary. Do you get the point? But even it's good at times, let there be shaking so that people will sit up. That have actually made the judiciary to actually start to look inward, to purge itself of some elements that are not ought to be there. Because the issue of the problem with judiciary, especially from inception of this country, is the issue of independence. In appointment of judges, executive intervenes a lot. And you know that in issue of appointment, that determines the kind of judges we have. Because someone that don't have character, so to say, but have influence or have someone that will speak for him or her. And eventually such a person is appointed. Although there is a process of appointing judges, but most of the time we have a lot of issues. So the lawyers, NBA should be giving more voice in appointment of judges.
Like you said, that there is executive interference. Can we now say that the judiciary don't have the powers to exercise its responsibilities independently? Most
of the time, they have powers, but not full powers. Because
constitutionally, how is it
supposed to be that the judiciary should be totally independent from executive and for legislature. But in the practice, because the executive appoints the CJ, the executive he who pay the piper. This is true. Most of the time, the executive, they are the people that provide
let Prof come in. I think Prof has something to say.
Most of the time, but most of the time, the judiciary, like issue of obedience to rule of law, judiciary might make pronouncement. The executive will not like to pay it. Look at the issue of Sambo Dasuki. Judiciary have pronounced that he should be released, granted bail, but up to now he's still in detention.
All right, let's hear from Prof. Why is it, what is it supposed to be? And why are we having this?
The barrister just confirmed our fears, the fears of the common man, that the judiciary is not independent.
Not totally, they are partially.
Look, we don't want a total thing here. It's either it is there or it is not. You cannot protect the common man partially. It means you are rendering a partial service to equity, to justice, and to fair play.
Good.
I don't know if you understand that.
Good.
It's one hell of a problem in Nigeria. The executive cannot, from what the barrister said, allow the judiciary to work.
Okay, let us look at it from this angle. What guides the judiciary is the law, which we know is the Constitution. Does it mean that the judiciary is having a little departure from what the Constitution states? Because I am aware, from what we've been analyzing here, that the judiciary is supposed to be supposed to have a total independence, because they interpret the law and they actually do it for the interest of the masses. The Constitution gives them that right to do that. But in this case, the judiciary seems to be will I use the word lackadaisical about it? Or
dangling between two
powers, the legislature and the executive. Does that still pose confidence, from the masses?
Actually, the judiciary have been doing very much to make sure that its independence is guaranteed. But the executive, the function given to executive to execute the law. When the judiciary interpret the law, give it the true meaning. What is not in line with the desires of the power that be, or the way they wanted it, they will ignore it, and by then they have rendered that pronouncement useless. And there is nothing you can do. Who will now force the executive to do it? Like for instance, the example I gave, this issue of sample dasic is the one that is still stand on our face. The Zaki, the leader of this Zaki, the leader, they have been granted bail with federal government by the court of competent jurisdiction. But up to date, they are still in detention. But the judiciary cannot execute, cannot pronounce and execute.
Welcome back, still on Good Morning Anambra, Friday edition, and we are talking about judiciary, a democratic institution 90 years after. Still at the house, we have Professor Ngozi Ude, Dean Faculty of Arts, Jukwu University, and of course Barrister Ifechukwu Jacobs, a legal practitioner. We're giving attention to what the Constitution says, the role of the judiciary. Are you assuring us that you still remain the learned gentlemen you people are, and then you are implementing the law as enshrined in the Constitution to protect the masses?
With the role given to judiciary is to interpret the law according to the provisions of the Constitution.
Okay.
But the executive, the role given to executive to execute.
The Constitution says
that decision.
The Constitution says nobody is above the law.
That is on paper in Nigeria.
On paper,
but from activities of the presidency, right? Like this issue of pronouncement by court, the executive refused to obey. Now legislation supposed to come in. Nobody is above the law. That is where the legislation is supposed to come in. By serving him impeachment notice, that is an impeachable offense. Do you see the way they're supposed to checkmate each other? That check and balance is supposed to be there. When the judiciary pronounce on a particular issue and the executive failed to implement it, execute it, it's not the duty of the legislature to checkmate the activity of that executive by serving them impeachment notice that you have disobey the constitution you took oath of office to uphold. By the time you serve in the impeachment notice, for you to state the reasons why he should not be impeached.
All right, Barrister, let me go to Prof. Prof, I don't know, from all these explanations given by Barrister in the studio, do you really think that the judiciary has done what it should to bring about development in our democracy?
The judiciary is like a goat tethered to a post. Because where lies the hope of the common man if the judiciary interprets the law and the executive refuses to execute it? What is the essence? I mean, it's already defeated. You don't give somebody a job and then give the person a kind of a standing order on how to do it. Like Amin would tell his judges, I know how to appoint and I know how to demote. So I believe the judiciary at a certain level is afraid of certain powers. And this fear makes them not to really stand firm, to defend what they are supposed to defend, to project what they are supposed to project. A free, a humane, and a civilized society. A free society should be a society whereby when the judiciary interprets the law, it should be duly executed. A humane society is a society where the judiciary is allowed, given a free hand to do what they know best how to. Yes, and a civilized society is that which upholds the rule of law.
And now, Barrister, from your submissions here, is there anything the judiciary is doing to really gain its independence back?
Yes, that's why we need courageous judges in place, because it takes courage for a judge to make pronouncement against interest of the power that be and still withstand it. That is what the area we look at it. The appointment area, we need to appoint men and women of impeccable character into judiciary. Those that have courage to face the executive. Like in the days of the military era, it was judiciary that actually confronted them. During the time of Alpha Begore as the chief judge of the Federation, Caribbean White, these men were courageous enough to make pronouncements that even made ability to leave power. So we still need, men, courageous men in the bench. And the masses have to do something too on the issue of election. They have to stand up to the challenge, participate in the electoral process, because the legislators are not doing their job.
All right,
this present executive have committed a lot of impeachable offenses, but nothing have been done.
All right.
How can judiciary interpret the law and as well executive? It's not possible. We have division of labor. The responsibilities are shared. The judiciary is supposed to interpret. The executive will execute. Where executive fails to execute, the legislature will check the excesses of the executive by serving them even notice. We are going to remove you.
So in essence, what are you saying the judiciary is doing right now to
the judiciary is doing
get back the independence?
They are doing their job by interpreting the law. Although we have some bad eggs among them that, like when you go to issue of judicial activity so far, in high courts and Supreme Court have performed very well. In isolation of these two courts, like appellate court have actually tried to, like in recent time, the one court of appeal division will make a pronouncement on the same issue, and another will make different pronouncement. But judiciary is still working very hard.
All right, let me take you a bit to election petition tribunal. According to law, it says about 180 days are stipulated for the determination of an election petition and 60 days for an appeal. Now, has the judiciary strictly adhered to these laws since Nigeria is a democracy 19 years ago?
No, the electoral process there have been amendments in the electoral laws. This issue of 180 days started some years back, not from 1999. But before, it's when the judiciary conclude their trial that the judgment will be given.
We're still in democracy. Let's know whether they
but this 180 days, since the amendment came into force, they have been obeying it. That is why most of the time, if you don't meet up, they dismiss your appeal. They won't go further. Once 180 days elapsed, you fail to file the necessary papers. But once the petitioner have met up with the requirements, within 90 days, they deliver judgment according to the rules.
And is that 180 days
enough?
Is that enough for
well, just to avoid the situation whereby a politician will manipulate, buy over votes, and remain in power and use money to frustrate.
Is that why they restricted it to 180 days?
Then they made it without 180 days, so that by the time Nigerian decide, everything is in place. They must decide, their case must be decided within that 180 days. You won't influence anybody to maybe employ the titles or unnecessary or do delay again. You must decide it within that 180 days. That the tribunals knows quite well that they have no choice than to decide it with 180 days.
Now, Prof, what do you think is the impression of the masses towards this issue he's talking about?
First, I will refer to this election petition tribunal. Do you know that it just came to my mind that it took 4 years to remove a governor, or a sitting governor in Anambra State. It took 4 years for the judiciary to grant his election faulty. I don't know if you understand. 4 years, and this governor has just 4 years or 5 years. 4 years.
No, 3 years plus.
3 years plus is not up to 4 years.
3 years plus.
That is why I haven't even completed the
So why did it take the judiciary
Look at that, which is going. Why did it take judiciary this much?
Justice denied is justice delayed. Justice delayed is justice denied.
And because of all these issues now, she started in a delay that made the amendment to be made, and 180 days was stipulated. Do you get the point? So that you don't exceed 180 days to avoid a situation whereby somebody will come in through back door and you allow that person to stay too long.
You know, that's why I asked earlier whether this 180 days has really helped in dispensing judgment.
Indeed, it has helped. That is why most of the recent elections, you see that before you know it, every issue about election is being decided and decided by the judiciary. And if you want to go and appeal, you go and appeal. If you don't want to go and appeal, you leave it at that. Like what we used to have before. You'll be hearing that the matter is in the tribunal for years. But now it's
okay. Let us look at this from this angle now. Most cases are being heard at the local magistrate court, from magistrate court to go to high court, from high court most times you'll be referred back to another court of competent jurisdiction. The apex court is the Supreme Court. Now, all these processes, to what extent do you think they have made Nigerians feel or have confidence in them 19 years now, still running?
Actually, the lower court, from customary court to magistrate court, high court, in all the level of court have been doing their best. Only that most of the manpower issue come to play. The judiciary need more manpower. They need to create more, like in the court of appeal now. Anambra State supposed to have a court of appeal division. Though they have been discussing about it, by now they were supposed to have functional court of appeal division in Anambra State.
Okay.
And more judges should be appointed, so that the dispensation of justice will be quicker. And the magistrates, when you get to a court where you have a single magistrate will have up to 500 files before the court, it will decide the case as they come. And we can't overwork his or herself. And likewise in the high court, we don't have enough hands. They should create more courts to quicken dispensation of justice.
So, what's your take on that? Do you think democracy has done enough this 19 years still counting?
Our democracy is wobbly. From what the barrister is saying and from what is visible to us, our democracy has a care leg, a serious cog in the wheel.
Are you attributing it to the failure of the judiciary in this case?
Not really. No, I don't doubt the judiciary and its efficiency. I doubt the ability of the powers that be to execute the laws interpreted by the judiciary. And then I also somehow doubt at a certain level the judiciary may become afraid of making certain pronouncements. And just as it said, it will need courageous people in the judiciary.
And Prof, do you where do you think we got it wrong? Was it like this from 1999 till date?
I don't think so, because
I've
heard of Rotimi Williams, Gani Fawemi. If Gani Fawemi is to be in court and he's what he interpreted or the person he's defending, you fail to execute the law, I don't think he will let you be. So I believe, just as he said, we need courageous people in the judiciary.
Where did we get it wrong?
Well, actually, like those Prof have mentioned, they are practicing lawyers, senior advocates for that matter. They are actually lawyers, they are ministers in the Temple of Justice. They have been doing their best to present their case before the bench to decide, and the bench have been doing their best to decide
and
make
pronouncement.
Where went wrong? I've told you where we got it. No, where we got it wrong is in the issue of execution. The police is part of executive. Do you know? The army, all the security agencies, they are part of executive. They have been failing to uphold rule of law. Where they are involved in issue, they would like to do anything about it. If there is any pronouncement against their interests, they start attacking.
And nothing could be done.
Nothing could be done. And the judiciary have decided their own responsibility by interpreting the law as it's supposed to be.
We are in big trouble.
Now it's not for the executive to execute it. And now, if the executive fail to do so, it's now the duty of the legislature to come in to check by serving the power that be notice of impeachment. If it is like issue of what happened, Idris that disobeyed the National Assembly, they forced the executive to remove him, that he should be removed. But the
executive refused.
And they failed to serve in impeachment notice.
You wanted to say something?
You get the point. So the issue is that the arms of government should live up to their expectations.
You asked me what went wrong.
Yes.
What is wrong with the democracy, whether we have true democracy. The problem with our democracy is the inability to uphold the rule of law.
Oh, okay. There's something I want to ask now. You know, an average Nigerian, you will want the person to go to court. The person will be dragging the legs because they say, I don't know what will happen.
Come today, come tomorrow.
Lots of confidence. I don't know if there is anything that is being done at this time to restore the confidence of an average Nigerian that will say, if anything, just like the case of rape now, so many people will decide to stay back that they won't go to court because it will become today, like Prof said.
Well,
anything that is being done to restore the confidence of the common
judiciary have been doing a lot on that area, but I've told you that issue of manpower have been a problem. Nigeria courts, the level of the kind of responsibility placed on court and number of courts in place is not enough. We don't have enough courts to do this job. They should, like issue of appeal cases now. You might file an appeal, it will be years before it will be decided because we don't have enough court of appeal division. In high court, we don't have enough courts. You go to a single court, you have up to 800 files before a judge. A magistrate court, like that, many files before them to decide on. And we cannot decide the whole cases on one day.
I'm still seeing problems here. What do we do?
What we are going to do actually? The executive have to make more funds available to the judiciary to create more courts. Then the issue of adjournment, I'm sure when we have enough courts and they have lesser matter before them, they will treat them with seriousness and deciding them on time. But where they have many matters started, we will take them as they come.
All right, Prof, I don't know what you are advocating.
You know, we have two problems here facing us. One is interpreting the law. The other is executing it. And for the person, the rape case you just mentioned, the person is afraid of the time span it will take to interpret the law, to get justice. Now, after getting justice, it remains execution. The common man is in trouble in Nigeria. Let me just put it down.
What are you advocating?
I don't know. We are at a loss because we say this is democracy. Democracy, government of the people, by the people, for the people. Who is governing who here? The common man is being stifled. The common man, we have lost hope in everything. If the judiciary cannot interpret a law and get the law executed, what is the fate of the common man? Now
we want to really wind up this discussion.
Very big question mark there.
Very big question. Now let us know what you think, how we can have it right. Do you have an advice for the judiciary in order to have a nascent democracy?
The judiciary should be given a free hand. The judiciary should be given a soft, just as he is complaining about insufficient courts, insufficient manpower. We train lawyers. I am in the university. We graduate lawyers every year. There are countless of them out there. Train them, brush them up, make the right appointments. He mentioned something like that about the executives appointing the wrong people to posts. Make right appointments.
Make right appointments. Dan Jacobs, what do you have to tell us? How do we make it right?
Well, the only way to make it right is for all the organs of the government to actually be alive to their responsibility.
All right.
And the masses too should participate in governance truly by electing the right people in the House of Assembly and electing the right people in the executive. So that when the laws are being interpreted, they will execute it. When the executive is going wrong, the House will rise up and then them.
Okay, thank you very much. That has been Judiciary in a Democratic Institution 90 years after. And we've been talking with Barrister Ifechukwu Jacobs, a legal practitioner. We thank you for really joining us in this discussion. And also to you, Professor Mrs. Ngozi, Dean Faculty of Arts, Jukwu University, Barr Campus. I want to say thank you for really joining us in this discussion.
Thank you, the presenter. Thank you, the
guest. We have to go.
All right, we have to go, but the masses, you've had it all. Go pick your voter's card.
PVC. It's wartime.
Thank you very much. My name is Theophilus Okoha.